Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're taking a look deep inside the engine room of global finance. You know, the part you never normally get to see. We're talking about the system that moves literally trillions of dollars around the world, every single day, and how it's being quietly rewritten as we speak. All right, let's get into it. So here's a little puzzle to frame our whole story today. What on earth could connect the super futuristic world of digital currencies and tokenized assets with a tiny, almost unnoticeable change to a single word in a technical document? Well, the answer tells you pretty much everything you need to know about how the global financial system really works.
But before we can get to that answer, we need to understand a fundamental concept. All the world's banks, all the financial institutions, they all have to speak the exact same language. It has to be precise, it has to be clear, and it has to be global.
And that language, it's called ISO 2022. The easiest way to think about it is like the internet's own language, TCP/IP, but specifically for money. It's the set of rules that lets a bank in Tokyo send an instruction to a bank in Berlin and have it understood perfectly, instantly, with zero confusion. This is the code that makes global finance even possible.
Okay, so let's start with our first story. Now, this is going to seem like a really minor piece of admin, just some simple housekeeping. But trust me, it shows just how critical every single word is in this world. This is the story of something called Change Request 003092.
So, the whole issue revolved around a simple four-letter code, ADEA. It's the code that gets used when a payment instruction shows up late, after a deadline. The problem was, for years, the official definition for what to do next was, well, it was a bit fuzzy. And in a system that's moving trillions, fuzzy is dangerous, really dangerous.
And here you can see the change itself. Just look at that old definition. See how it ends? Processed on best effort basis. I mean, what does best effort even mean? It's not a legal term, right? The new definition just gets rid of that ambiguity. It replaces it with crystal clear contractual language, managed as per the bilateral service agreement. Boom. Now everybody knows exactly what the rules are.
And this wasn't some huge controversial debate. As you can see from the official minutes of the working group, pretty much everyone agreed. They all knew this little change made the whole system stronger and way more predictable. But here's the real kicker. This one tiny change to a single definition didn't just affect one type of message. It had a ripple effect that spread out to more than 20 different global messaging standards. It impacted everything from settling securities trades to corporate finance. It just goes to show you, in this system, even the smallest details have massive, massive scale. Okay, so that was all about maintaining and fine-tuning the system we have today. Now let's switch gears completely and see how that very same system is being prepped for the world of tomorrow. This is where Change Request 003059 comes in, and it is all about making room for digital money.
Look, the business reason for this is pretty simple. All these big financial firms are diving headfirst into tokenized assets. But right now, it's kind of the Wild West out there. You've got tons of different platforms, different technologies. So for any of this to work at a global scale, the old financial world and this new one have to be able to talk to each other. And the industry is saying, hey, we don't want to build a whole new network for this. They want to adapt the one they've already got, ISO 2022.
So this created a really fascinating new headache for the standards group. I mean, the old messages were designed for physical locations and traditional bank accounts. But how do you describe a transaction where security tokens are settled on one digital ledger and the payment happens with e-money tokens on a completely separate digital ledger? The old language of money just wasn't built to handle this.
The working group basically debated three different ways to solve this. Option 1. Should they just try to cram this new information into the existing section for cash parties? Probably not a great fit, since a digital ledger isn't really a party. Okay, what about option 2? Putting it in the section for the financial instrument itself. Getting warmer, but still not quite right. Or option 3, should they build something totally new? A more flexible, future-proof field made just for this new digital world.
And this is where their thinking was just so smart. They went with option 3. They decided to create a whole new section, a generic field for digital payment settlement information. Instead of just slapping a patch on the old system, they built a brand new component, one that's flexible enough to handle not just today's digital assets, but whatever new forms of digital money we come up with next.
So, we've seen a tiny tweak and a massive upgrade. But who are the actual people making these huge decisions that affect, the entire global economy?
Well, they're called the Common Standards Working Group. And this isn't some abstract bureaucracy. It's a group of real-world experts from dozens of countries, representing the biggest names in finance. We're talking BNP, Deutsche Bank, Citibank, Euroclear, all of them. These are the practitioners, the people who actually use this system day in and day out. These decisions are being made by people like Laura Hannon from BNY Mellon and Steve Sloan from the DTCC over in the US. They and all their colleagues from around the world volunteer their time to come together to debate these changes and to basically maintain the language of money for everyone's benefit.
Okay, let's bring it all back together. We've got a tiny text fix on one hand and a huge upgrade for digital assets on the other. So what do these two things actually tell us when you put them side by side? They show us that the global financial system is like a living organism. It is constantly and simultaneously being carefully maintained and completely rebuilt. The fix to that ADIA code, that's about making sure the pipes we have today don't leak. The digital asset update, that's about laying entirely new pipes for tomorrow. And it's all happening within the same single universal framework.
And that really brings us to our final thought here. For centuries, the language of money was written on paper, then in physical ledgers. Now it's being written in code. And as we've seen today, that language is always evolving. Which leaves us with one last really big question for the future. As money itself becomes programmable code, who is going to be the one to write the next chapter of its story?